Welcome to Between the Sheets, the podcast where we're going to cover a variety of topics related to sexual health and wellness. I'm Dr. Stephanie Zwanitzer, your host. I'm a nurse practitioner and have been in practice since 2017. I have my Doctor of Nursing Practice degree, and I specialize in urology and sexual health. I am so excited to explore all of the various topics related to sexual health and wellness with you in a fun, spicy, educational, and non-judgmental manner. So come on, let's get between the sheets. Hey, welcome back to Between the Sheets. I have Stacie Ysirdo, who is a sex life stylist. She's a certified sex coach and a certified erotic blueprint coach. She is amazing. I am so excited to have gotten connected with her and to bring her here for you guys. She's coming to us from Florida today. So welcome, Stacie.
Hi there, Stacie Ysirdo.
Ysirdo, yay! So sexy. I love it. So tell me a little bit about what you do, and then we'll kind of roll into the erotic blueprints.
Sure. So I'm in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I'm actually from Tampa. So I'm
Okay.
usually somewhere around here unless I'm traveling. And I'm a certified sex coach, and I'm also a certified lead erotic blueprint coach. And so what that means is I help people who are having challenges with sex and relationships. Challenges meaning like, I think I want something different. I want to spice it up. I want to try something new. And they're not really sure how to get it. That's what I help people with. So understanding how they experience arousal and pleasure so they can communicate that with a partner or just enjoy that with themselves.
Yeah.
And create whatever relationship dynamic or relationship style that they feel like is right for them. So I always say if it's out of your box, it's probably in mine
I love that. Yes.
when it comes to sex and relationships. So
That's fantastic. I always love outside the box thinking and allowing people to really be their true selves without judgment, without shame, and helping them explore that. So I think what you do is fantastic.
yeah, there's a lot around, especially now in culture, living our lives, it's by design, not default.
Yeah,
By
absolutely.
conscious choice rather than just going through the motion.
Yeah, for sure. So I know one of the things that you and I had said we were going to discuss today was the erotic blueprints. And I am just fascinated by these. I had been taught the 5 languages of love early in my 20s. And so I was very familiar with that. I had no idea until about 6 months ago that there were blueprints for our sex lives and what we like and want to explore that way. So I'm fascinated by this topic.
Yes. So the erotic blueprints, they're founded by Jaya. She's one of my mentors. And she is a world-renowned sexologist that's worked with Tony Robbins. And if you've seen Gwyneth Paltrow's show, Sex, Love, and Goop, she was featured in an episode, well, in a season. It's like a series. And that was really great. She's amazing. She founded them. I decided to become a coach because they made such a big difference in my life. And essentially, it's how we experience arousal and pleasure. And it flows out into every area of our life, not just only with sex. It's like sex is the sign on the door.
Yeah.
And then what happens is,
Yeah.
so it's really interesting as we get to know ourselves and our own blueprints. We think everyone is a mixture of all of the 5 ways. We just have preferences, tendencies, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know because sex and relationships is an area that we haven't really had a lot of reputable, like non-biased, educational, accurate information on.
Yeah.
So to be able to have a way to not medicalize sex, to say, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. We all just like different things. And here's a language that we can use to start to talk about them.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's so great too, because throughout our lives, what we like and what speaks to us varies. And so having these blueprints and being able to learn about them, you could say, I really had more of a sensual side earlier, and now I have more of a sexual side, or now I have more of an energetic side. And I think that it's so great, like you said, to have these words and these ideas to help teach other people, our partners and ourselves, kind of where we're at and what we want. And if that changes, having verbiage to use.
Absolutely. Yeah, knowing ourselves first and then translating what's happening here out there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So when you're working with people with the blueprints, how do you get them started? How do you know like what their blueprint is and get them to like start self-exploring?
Well, usually people are already curious and they're looking.
Okay.
So, as you know, you can't make anyone do anything.
Yes.
We're always doing what we really want to do. At least that's one of my principles there. And so, yes, you're already seeking, curious. It's like the five love languages, but for sex. So
Mm-hmm.
you can watch the show. You can read Jaya's book. It's called Your Blueprint Breakthrough. That's an easy way. There's the online quiz, which I'll give you the link. You can put the link to it in there. And then there's a free quiz where you get your top blueprint percent, like the number
Mm-hmm.
one. And then there's usually a paid version. You get like a 20 something page report, like a breakdown of all of it.
Okay.
So you can engage at your own level. And if you're like, hey, this is really resonating with me and I want to go deeper, there is the Blueprint Breakthrough course and
Mm.
program. And there's a whole private group on the Mighty Networks where all of us gather and have all of the courses and the recordings from our community calls. I actually just got off of one of those. It was a sex tips, tools, and tricks call.
Love that.
Yes, for the Erotic Freedom Club with the Erotic
Excellent.
Blueprints. So, yeah, so we do a lot in that community. So you can like engage at your comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
And this is stuff that is lifelong. I have like redone that course probably 5 times,
Yeah.
and I still get something different out of it.
Sure.
I can listen to something and then I hear something in a different way. Or, like you said, I'm in a different place now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lifelong process. And the other cool thing is they're certified coaches. So you can actually go deep with
Mm-hmm.
a coach and get personalized instruction and coaching. And, you start where you're at
Mm-hmm.
and we go as fast as the slowest moving part. And there's no judgments. And we
Yeah.
work in confidentiality.
I love
So,
that. So,
yeah.
talk me through some of these blueprints. What are we looking at? What are we seeing? And what's really getting people turned on?
So we'll start with the kind of cultural norm here in
Yes.
America. So just presents that cultural norm,
Mm-hmm.
dominant cultural norm
Yes.
is the sexual blueprint
Mm-hmm.
and genitals, nudity, have the orgasms. It could be a performance,
Mm-hmm.
which can be good or bad. And it's very orgasm focused, genital
Mm-hmm.
focused. The superpowers are there's usually little shame. They're very direct, comfortable with sex. It's like air and water. It's just
Mm-hmm.
part of life and breathing. It's, sex to relax, sex for relaxation. So it's a natural part of life. The shadow side of the sexual and our what we're seeing now can be too much focus on an end result
Mm.
to where now we're missing everything in between that actually gets us somewhere that ecstatic and
Yeah.
orgasmic. So we can lose our presence and the whole
Mm-hmm.
experience by thinking that we have to perform and do it in a certain way and it has to look like this because that's what I saw and this is how it
Right.
goes. So you can be very limited in your experience of
Sure.
pleasure and arousal and even overall life satisfaction when you get deep into that shadow. So that one I think everyone's pretty familiar with.
Yeah.
The other one I'll say is, sensual. So sensual is all about the senses. It's, the smells, taste, the textures,
Mm.
massaging, food, you have foodgasms.
Yes.
Ooh, ah. So yeah, and they like to relax first and take their time. So,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that like romance movie type stuff.
Yes.
So people are kind of familiar with that, oh, the sensual massage thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, so superpowers is, oh my gosh, the possibility for orgasmic experiences is just limited to your meaning you're giving
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
because it's so visceral and immersive.
Mm-hmm.
And there is such an eye for detail,
Mm-hmm.
lighting, the perfect music. Put the camera, turn it upside down, like it's so fucking beautiful and amazing.
Yeah.
And um, Yeah, they're very sensual lovers. The shadow side is that they can sometimes get caught up on that stuff. Like,
Mm,
oh man, no, I didn't get to take a shower, or no, I didn't get to finish the laundry, or well, this lighting is shit, so never mind. And I
yeah.
hate this song anyways, or so it's like
Yeah.
your superpowers, like, oh man, now this is limiting me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that with every blueprint. You get a superpower and then a shadow.
Yeah.
And we take those obstacles and make them pathways.
Okay.
But so yeah, so sensual, sometimes they get
Mhm.
a little body fluids or smells can be
Yeah.
like, oh, it's a mess, you know. So yeah, sensual shadow, I can relate
Mhm.
to some of that. Sometimes
Yeah,
man
for sure.
voices,
Mhm.
that just, can't do it sometimes. Can't
Yeah.
do it. It's my sensual shadow.
Yep.
And that's what I mean, how it extrapolates out. But yeah, sensual, great dressers. They usually
Mm.
smell great.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I think that is, getting more popularity. Actually, these two here. I'll go with kink first. Kinky blueprints.
Yeah.
So essentially, kink literally it's just anything that's different or taboo
Mhm.
to you. So something as simple as I don't even talk about sex. So for me to say the word sex, that's edgy. Like that's
Right.
kinky. The lights are on and they're usually off, and now I'm being seen naked, or
Right.
so it could literally be something like that, or it could be something, more, or different, further out, or,
Yeah.
into the spectrum of, I mean, we've got floggers over here.
Mhm.
There's power dynamics.
Mhm.
There's,
Bondage.
yeah,
Mhm.
bondage, rope.
Mhm.
So that's another superpower of kink. Endless
Yeah.
possibilities. I mean, it's so creative. Oh my goodness, it's
Mhm.
endless.
Yeah.
And it's psychological kink, which is sometimes it's not necessarily the sensations, it's more about the mind fuck.
Yeah.
And like
Yep.
the power dynamics, or like the
Yes.
scene of it, that, yes,
Mhm.
I am a very psychologically kinky one.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is a sensation.
Sure.
So in regular everyday talk, people will usually use the word pain.
Mhm.
I don't want pain, or I
Yeah.
want you to hurt me, or I don't want you to hurt me. And so I'm replacing that with intensity of the sensation,
Oh, I like
because
that.
pain is subjective. But if we can scale an intensity of a sensation, then now we can actually co create something together, and we have a clear understanding of what that means to you. So, yes, sensation can be the intensity
Yeah,
of
that
a
makes so much
sensation
sense.
that
Yeah.
is the turn on.
Right. Right. Or the
So,
turn off if it goes
or the turn
too
off.
much, too little. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's kinky realm, dominant, submissive. And then even we're going to bring in the other blueprint, energetic. Energetic is where you find tantra, spirituality. It's the vibe and the flow. And the reason why I brought those two in next to each other is because I think in kink, there is such a vibe that is
Mhm.
created, whether it's through costume or environment
Mhm.
or setting the scene. There's such an energetic component to it
Yeah.
that can overlap there that I find fascinating.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, energy. It could be transcendent,
Mhm.
transformational. So can kink. Kink can also be transformational and healing.
Yeah.
So
And I
those are
think
some interesting things there.
yeah, the other thing that I think is interesting with those 2 is they're really good about it being about the experience and not the end result. Like the first one we talked about, the sexual one. They're really into, some of the bondage and stuff. These rope play is so intricate and dynamic and has nothing to do with an actual climax. It's the control and the positioning and it's amazing.
Yeah, then it can be a climax. It's just, it doesn't have to be a sexual
Yeah.
climax. So it doesn't have to be genital focused. I love
Mhm.
that you're pointing that out, because, yes, energetics and even in the kinky blueprint can orgasm without being touched.
Mhm.
So that's another superpower.
Yeah.
And one of the shadows of that can be, oh, this is the best way,
Mm.
especially in energetic. Oh, we're higher and spiritual, and you are broken, and this is what's wrong, and XY, this whole
Yeah.
spiritual bypassing dark shit. So there can be a hierarchy there
Mhm.
that could be negative. And then sometimes within energetic realm, like you said, too much touch too
Mhm.
soon can be a shutdown. It could be a disconnect. It could be a disassociate,
Mhm.
like leave the body. So it could be disorienting. It could be experienced as pain. So
Mhm.
energetics like to relax first and ease in.
Okay.
They can feel you from across the room.
Mhm.
And then the shadow side over of the kinky is sometimes that kink can become a fetish, which there's
Mm.
nothing wrong with a fetish unless you want to experience pleasure and arousal in other ways. So the fetish becomes the focus of this is the fetish item or activity, and now this is the only way to experience this level of satiation
Yeah.
if possible. Sometimes there's just a constant seeking, which is another conversation. So there could be a shadow there. There could
Mhm.
also be, room for harm of self or other, depending
Mm.
on what you're doing
Yep.
psychologically, what we say to people, and also physically
Mhm.
with different like rope or impacts, knives, fire.
Mhm.
So there's ways to do that with, to be safe. So
Yeah.
that you seek training for,
Right.
especially in that realm. And sometimes there could be shame around like, oh
Mhm.
no, this is weird. I don't, nobody else likes this.
Yeah.
And those people that are thinking that, I'm telling you right now, you're so not alone. And there's so many other people that are into that.
Mhm.
They're out there. You will find them. Just look. Yeah.
Yes. 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 And there's
No,
getting to be more and more places to find each other too. I mean, the
yes.
different apps, the different websites, things like that, where you can really connect with people that are interested in the same type of activities that you are.
Yeah. And last blueprint is the shapeshifter. So that's the mixture of all of them.
Yeah.
So that could be I need all of these fulfilled for this to be a peak experience for me.
Hmm.
Or it could be actually, can we fuck first and cuddle later?
Yeah.
Sexual blueprint, then sensual? Or can it be, ooh, I'm feeling super energetic. Just look at me from across the room right now. Oh my God. And then you can, so it could be something different at any time. So that could be a shadow of what the hell do I want now?
Right.
And
Right.
then figuring that out, now I get to tell someone and then allow myself to receive it. Another journey.
Yeah.
And shapeshifters are great lovers. They're usually the mold to fit. They kind of like a little bit of everything. Will do any very skilled lovers,
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes, we'll do this and that. And then over here. And the issue is if you're always doing what everybody else wants, then what's really going on with you?
Right.
And it can be fun to go with everybody else. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're still with ourselves.
Yes.
So that's your blueprint overview,
I love
shadow
that.
superpower.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love learning about these. It's so fascinating. So, when you have people come to you for coaching with the blueprints, are they coming individually to learn their own, or are they coming as a couple saying, we like different stuff, help us figure out each other's blueprints and how do we work through this, or some of both?
So usually some people have heard of the blueprints and they do specifically ask for it.
Hmm.
So that is a thing. Most of the time, people have things come up, like you said. Well, we always do the same thing. And not that it's not great and a nice time, but like we
Hmm.
kind of want to spice it up, but like we don't want to do like some swinger thing. Maybe we just want to, so they have an idea maybe, but they don't really know. That's
Hmm.
usually the type of people that come to see us. So they're curious about learning more
Okay.
and getting to know themselves more. They're usually interested in pleasing their partner more. How do I please my partner? So, yeah,
Yeah.
individuals and couples.
Okay.
And I found as I've gotten older and had more experiences and time in different types of
Hmm.
partnerships, yes, I definitely get more couples.
Yeah.
Enjoy working with them.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's so important to know your own blueprint and what works well for you. I'm a huge proponent of self time because if you don't know what works for you, how are you going to tell your partner? But I also think that it's so fascinating because we are so different that learning, it gives a vocabulary to what's going on in your relationship, right? So, like, I might not have the words, but I know you like this particular thing and I like this particular thing, and they don't always mesh together.
Yes, that's what we figure out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so having that common language, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really important. And so the blueprints, the way I see it, and you work with people, it's a tool.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times people come with something that's present with them.
Mhm.
And then this is a tool that we use to help explore this because now we're all talking the same language and it goes beyond just, oh, this is how I experience arousal and pleasure. I'm taking a quiz online. That's all like in your brain, which is
Mhm.
great. And some of the stuff you may not even know or may not have experienced, or maybe you did and you didn't like it with that one
Yeah.
person and whatever. So, as we explore deeper, really the blueprints is about embodiment. It's not about being
Mm.
in your head. There is no beginning and end of one and the other. You're not
Yeah.
only this and that, you're everything and nothing all at the same time.
Mm. Very prophetic.
Yeah, you totally are. And
Yeah.
so it's a tool to use and it expands into our life. So, for example, I'm like, ooh, feeling sensual. So I wanted to like, ooh, put some, shampoo my hair. I want to like put my little makeup thing. And ooh,
Mhm.
I'm feeling kind of airy fairy. So I want to be over here with the altar thing. And
Yeah.
so it's creating my life to where I'm experiencing pleasure and arousal through all different ways and all different times rather
Mhm.
than only limiting myself to experiencing arousal and pleasure in a sexual space.
That's so important.
Yeah, expanding your baseline and capacity and understanding of pleasure.
Yeah. So how do you help couples who are just not hitting the mark? One maybe really needs more arousal time, sensual time, things to get going, and the other one maybe is much more sexual and just like, let's get it, let's get straight to business. How do you kind of help them figure out coming into a joint connection where they're both getting satisfied?
Yeah, so I use many different tools when I'm working with couples. So usually we start from an embodiment practice of breathing and grounding,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll go into some words. And there's
Mm.
certain prompts that I give to each one of them, and they get to share. And then we have the opportunity to go into the body at that
Mm.
point. So once we found some clarity on what all of that means, the slow down, the takes too long, why does it have to be a production, but I'm not ready. So now we can actually go in and say, guess what? This is our personal responsibility for our pleasure. I know that I need extra time to feel ready to step into a sexual space and be, all luxurious with you,
Yeah.
then guess what? I'm going to actually request maybe a date night
Mm.
or say, hey, let's plan something. Or you could do it spontaneous. Oh, they're, coming home earlier. I know there's nothing on this day. I'm going to do my hair in the morning, or I'm going to go on the run. I'm going to shave, or I'm not going to shave. Whatever you
Mm-hmm.
do, it's finding your own sensual or energetic routine
Yeah.
to help you get ready to step into pleasure,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that the sexual blueprint can go from 0 to 60. So you're feeding yourself first.
Yeah. That makes
And
so much sense.
that's a big deal for
Yeah.
sensuals and energetics. And for sexual blueprints, they can have like a very seeking, thirsty, or
Mm-hmm.
starving, like ravenous,
Yeah.
like even kinky appetite, and
Mm-hmm.
it can feel starving,
Yeah.
especially because if this is like food and water, like, and I didn't eat today, I'm hangry and like a beast,
Yeah.
right? So don't come at your energetic partner with that. take care of yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sit with yourself first, do some self-pleasure or masturbation or exercise or
Mm-hmm.
move the energy somehow to where you can approach your partner in a more grounded space
Yeah.
without having that, the intensity of the energy, because that could be. So that's a recommendation. And then we also can teach different ways of touch.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this is, who is this for? Betty Martin's Wheel of Consent.
Mm-hmm.
So who is this for? Okay, a lot of times is what's actually happening is we're both trying to please each other at the same time. And so nobody's getting pleased. And then it's like weird. So who is this for? And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean we're taking turns and
Yeah.
we're checking and I'm keeping score here. It's not that type of a thing.
Yeah.
It's a flow,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be, I want to worship your body right now.
Yeah.
And okay, yes, I will allow you. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'll receive that and I will, open to that. Or it could be that, reverse dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing who is that for, then now we can teach the sensual energetic how to touch sexual, or what to
Mm-hmm.
do to take care of your energetic and still please your sexual,
Right.
and vice versa. So, how can the sexual learn to touch and be with the energetic while still feeling fed themselves? So that way you're
Mm-hmm.
creating an experience together. And instead of it being like an up down,
Mm-hmm.
you're waving.
I love that.
And you can, peak and then go to sleep, because I love that too.
Yeah.
Really, and it's about different hormones that are being released in your body through different
Mm-hmm.
states of arousal and pleasure and sensation,
Yeah.
essentially running through your body.
Yeah.
So we learn to wave those.
Mm-hmm.
And think about performance. If you're cisgendered men, story is, if my dick's not hard all the time, there's something wrong with me, and my load has to be huge, and I got to shoot it across the room, and it has to be like, and it's like, whoa, dude, that's kind of a lot of pressure
Yeah.
to put on yourself here, especially when you like sit at a desk all day and you don't even
Right.
exercise. So how can you expect just fuck like that? Like,
Yeah.
it's not happening. So,
Yep.
and that's okay. So let's get rid of that
Mm-hmm.
pressure. And that was a really fun journey.
I love it.
And come back and learn how to to experience that sexual blueprint in a way
Mm-hmm.
without the performance and the pressure and the anxiety of having to be hard all the time. And
Yeah.
this is where it's coming back, is that it's natural for erectile tissue, which is in vulvas,
Mm-hmm.
female quote unquote vulva bodies. It's more internal,
Mm-hmm.
erectile tissue.
Yep.
Cock bodies, it's external
Mm-hmm.
erectile tissue. So this is the same tissue here. So it ebbs and flows, and
Yeah.
it's supposed to do that through the experience. So it's okay if your cock gets softer and then harder,
Mm-hmm.
you get juicier and then drier. That's the flow of it.
Yeah.
And that's what we teach people, like, normalize that, roll with it. Ooh, something's shifting. What's
Mm-hmm.
appearing next?
I love that.
Yeah, I love
That's
that stuff
so
too. I'm so
sexy.
excited. I know. I'm all like,
Woohoo! No, I think it's so great. So I liken this too. I always talk about, like with my friends or partners or whatever, like some people love 69, right? They totally get into it. I much prefer taking turns, because if you're pleasing me, I want to be pleased. I want to be in that moment. I want to feel all the things. And same thing for when I am trying to please you. I want you focused on you and your pleasure in that moment. And 69, we're getting all kinds of confused because I'm trying to be pleased, but I'm also trying to please. And it's like, but
right,
then
you're
some
like,
people love that.
can I plank with like one elbow, but like, I don't want to put too much weight on it, but I want to put like all my weight. But then like, if I move my arm, or like, can I breathe? Or the guy or whoever is, on oral, they
Yeah.
mashing their face into and it's like, they're resting their
Right.
hair on and I'm like, no, you
No.
don't rest your hair on my pubic bone.
Yes.
That's not
Yes.
what it's for.
Right.
So yes, there's different ways that we can help people, create situations. So guess what? I'm really creative. We have got like these different sex swing type things
Okay.
and this frame of a bed, and it was a higher frame. Point
Okay.
is, okay, so how about I got this to where here's the bed, and levitating over it
Uh,
with the swings. So now
That's so
I'm like
hot.
hovering over
Yeah.
my partner, my husband's down on this bed, but I've got the weight to be able to be on these things. So
Yeah.
now, like, he can move and do stuff, and I can move and do stuff. So, like, there's
Yeah.
really creative ways and furniture and things to use to get in interesting positions that are easy on your body
Yeah.
because you want it easy on your
Yes. And I love that you brought up the furniture and stuff because a lot of people think of those as just related to being kinky, right? Like it's not in their normal, so it makes it kink. And I agree with you that it really helps with certain positions and stuff. And so as in my urology practice, I see a lot of older patients, both men and women, and we have to talk about the positions they have sex in because one of them hurt their hip, one of them hurt their back, one of them's overweight, one of them's not overweight. All of these different things. The penis got smaller, so now they need a different angle. And some of those furniture pieces out there are not only beautiful, but they are super helpful.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's nice to have someone to go to that can
Mhm.
help you figure that out. We have a lot of different stuff here, so that's one of our fun things we love to do is you can try out different furniture and
Yeah.
different stuff and see, and it's almost like going to an expo or
Yeah, I love it.
even a massage table. That's
Hmm.
an easy, simple thing because you can raise and lower the height according
Hmm.
to where you bend at the
Yes.
waist and your back. Some of those can hold quite a bit of weight. You can get a couple people on there,
Nice.
or a very large one.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, there's. I know I've got like a table that'll hold up to like 500 pounds.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that
that's like
gives you options.
so that's what I'm saying. You can get, yeah, really creative. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, coaches can help with stuff like that too. We can help you figure out, yeah, fun things. Or even
Yeah.
different toys are fun to explore.
Hmm.
That's another thing. One of my girlfriends sells like pure romance. So she has
Yeah.
all the fun little toys. And I've known women that have made their own really interesting sex toys, but it's based on like, hey, it's called Crow Bones. This woman
Hmm.
is amazing. She's so fun,
Okay.
but she has it's like shaped like a bone handle, and
Hmm.
then there's it's like a squishier piece that kind
Okay.
of is like this, and there's different like nozzles or what nozzles attachments or whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is sometimes the pressure on that
Mm.
spot inside, like
Yep.
it's not quite enough, and the way that it's like you can push that and rock, like you're not trying to reach your hand down there and get
Right.
the thing. You can actually just sit or lay down.
Yeah.
And so, oh my gosh, if you have any type of like disability or that thing, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, look that one up.
Yes.
Love her.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. I know
So
there's
there's
so
a
many
lot of
great tools
stuff.
out. There really are. And you don't even have to go buy things specifically for that. If you want to try spanking, go grab a spatula from the dollar store. Grab out of your sewing kit, the little marker that you can roll things on and see if you like prickly and pokey. And I mean, take a fork and see if you like cold of the metal and pokey or not. Like there's so many things that before you spend hundreds of dollars on some of these fancy toys, you can play with stuff that's in your own house and start to figure out what you like.
Yeah, we call them pervertibles.
Okay.
Yeah, in Blueprint World, we call them pervertibles. So that's a challenge we give people. So anyone listening, challenge, go through your house and find 5 things that could be a sensation item and do something naughty with them.
I love that. That's so great.
So
Pervertibles.
yeah, they're pervertibles and or Dollar Tree,
Mm-hmm.
like different cat toys and things like that, car
Yeah.
wash stuff.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean,
Or like even like the silk scarves if you want to see if you feel like silk or
oh, I love fabric.
Yes. And
And
they sell rope at the
so,
dollar stores too.
yeah, and so that's a great way, I'm
Yeah.
glad you mentioned that, to go and explore and then come back and be like, "Okay, what does this feel like?"
Yeah.
So I can tap with
Mm-hmm.
this, I can rub it on there, I could
Yeah.
probably penetrate with something.
Yep.
So I could do a lot of different things and even just lay it there with
Yep.
one item.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super fun. I love that game. So
Yeah,
go play
that's
the
amazing.
convertibles game, and however you leave comments on here, tell us what you found. And don't say a
Yes.
spatula because we already gave you that one.
Right. Come up with your own.
Find something else fun and tell us what you
That's
did.
right. Because we might want to use that one then too.
Right. It's true. We call
Yes.
it R&D research.
Research and development. I love it. With
Doing a
your
little R&D.
pervertibles. Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's great. Amazing. So, what is something else that you see regularly with your sex coach patients or clients, I guess, that you think the listeners could benefit from hearing?
So let's see. What would like to appear? There's a lot of interest in different styles of relating, I've
Mm,
noticed.
okay.
And what I mean by that is, say most, well, this is a generational thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this depends on your generation. So you think about, I'm 44. I'm kind of in that weird in between one.
Mm-hmm.
But before, it was very much like my mom's generation and her mom's, it was monogamy. You get
Mm-hmm.
married to one person, you have a family, and you have the children. And then here's your cedar chest with everything that you need to be the optimum housewife and mother,
Yep.
gifted to you at graduation of high school.
Yeah.
I got one, by the way. Thanks.
I was going to say, did we have the same mom?
I got it. I love it because I have all these cool little, like,
Yeah.
and if you didn't want to have babies and you're getting baby clothes and baby blankets and a cedar chest at 17, like that, my mother was terrified. She
Right.
got the hell out of there. So there's different things that come up around our gender roles and
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities and our gender expression and our experience of gender. So even now around my age, I'm noticing themes of, oh, well, I don't, girls cry all the time. So I'm not going to cry. I'm going to lean into my masculine and I don't need anybody. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
boss bitch,
Yeah.
XYZ. Everyone's intimidated of me because I'm in my masculine all the time, which is super cool. And then how do I soften and actually, or for men, cisgendered men, quote unquote, what if they have feelings? They do.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone does. It
Yes.
doesn't matter what gender you are. So, but you see what I mean? So
Right.
sometimes it's a matter of the gender roles,
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities, and expectations in relationship that want to be shifted. That's what I mean by alternative styles of relating. So I've had relationships where I have been the sole provider, and
Mm-hmm.
then I had my son's father at home, Mr. Momming with the kids. I bought him the car. I got the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I did all the things. And we held that dynamic for many years and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I've had different dynamics where, I have been in the home, and I have been able to work in the business and have been bringing in less
Mm-hmm.
financial dollar income, but have been able to contribute. And I mean, hell, I grew up my parents talking about non-monogamy. My
Okay.
sister has a different dad. My parents were divorced when I was very little. My
Mm.
sister's dad was married to someone else that had had kids. So
Yeah.
today, that's not as big of a deal. But then that was a big deal. So
Yeah.
now people are, oh, babies, daddies, and XYZs, and well, we live together and co parent, but we're not together. Or, oh, well, we're together and we're not ever breaking up, but we have other partners. So there's different ways that you can work the sexual piece, the emotional needs, the finances, the family. It's however you want it to be.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like is a big theme that is coming up, is navigating that,
Yeah.
breaking away from what I thought it was supposed to be, or
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was supposed to be doing, or I tried it and I didn't like it. And then now I want something else,
Yeah.
figuring out that and what else is possible.
Yeah, and I think there's so much shame around that and guilt, right? On both sides. I've never tried it. I don't want to. Ew, that's gross. I can't believe people do that. Two, I tried it and I really like it. What's wrong with me? Or I tried it because I want that. I want to be open minded. I want more. And then I hated it. And now I feel guilty that I can't be open like some of my friends are open. And I want to believe in all of that stuff. And then I try it and I don't like, there's so much shame and guilt on both sides.
Right, like monogamy
Yeah.
shaming. Oh, there's
Yes.
so that in some poly things because it's like, yeah, the whole conscious non-monogamy poly thing has been shamed, so now it's reversing.
Yeah.
The pendulum swings.
That's right.
So, yes,
Yeah.
even if you do want to still be monogamous and that feels
Mhm.
good to you, that's a thing too. And that's
Mhm.
okay and it's accepted. And there's ways to spice it up and have fun with your partner. You're evolving and changing throughout your life. Like, what an
Yeah.
amazing journey to
Yeah.
go on with a person.
Yeah. I think so too. And I think even like you were saying with various relationships having different dynamics, you can have that within one relationship too. I mean, I remember, I obviously don't remember I was a baby, but when I was a baby, both my parents worked outside of the house. And then my dad wanted a different career and went back to college. My mom continued to work while my dad went to college full time, and then they were both back to working again. So there are so many dynamics that can happen within one long-term relationship as well, that we do really have to have these conversations. And I love the blueprints and the work that you're doing, because it gives people a foundation for how to talk through things and move through things, like you said, ebb and flow. And so it's fluidity through life.
Yeah, and sometimes those are separate things
Mm-hmm.
and they can get really intertwined, especially around sex, love, money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when we can tease those out and have conversations about what actually is, then yeah, it still ebbs and flows back together.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're allowing something from here to make all of this other stuff, the bad
Mm-hmm.
apple spoiling the bunch thing, it's like, hey, let's container this and see how we can organize ourselves and what do we want to create, and having
Yeah.
those check-ins over time.
Yeah. I
is-
love that, with yourself and with your partner.
yeah, with
Yeah.
yourself, with your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh, that's amazing.
what a journey.
What a journey. Oh my gosh, this has been a fantastic conversation. Stacie, thank you so much for being here today.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me. It's really
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody listening, we will put links in the show notes so you can learn more about Stacie and her work and how to be connected if you'd like to connect with her. And I just thank you all for listening. I hope you have a great day and have some fun between the sheets. Thank you for listening and spending time with me today. You can catch new episodes of Between the Sheets every Wednesday, because what better way to add some spice to your life than to have a new podcast on Hump Day? We will continue to explore common, uncommon, and taboo topics related to sexual health and wellness. Please send any comments, questions, or stories to podcastbetweenthesheets@gmail.com. That's all one word, podcastbetweenthesheets@gmail.com. Have a great day. And remember how important it is to discuss these topics with your friends, your family, and of course your partners. In fact, you can like, follow, and share this podcast so they can see it too. See you next time for more sexual health topics between the sheets.